This design is created for the backyard of an Italian Tuscan style home. And so, of course, we want to create somewhat of an Italian Tuscan style countryside look to it. And this is typical for my design style, to use my walkways and bed areas and borders to create my beds in here. It's typical for the way I design, with a lot of curves. And in preparation for this design in particular, as we decided to have a waterfall in here, a water feature, we wanted to incorporate this water feature and actually make it part of the scenery and the atmosphere of this area that's in here, which is an enclosed paver courtyard. Has 7-foot walls around it, and has an 8-foot viewing entrance. The gates are right here, and the gates open up all the way to allow viewing of this area. It's only 8 feet wide. Now this line represents line of sight from, this is another sitting area in here, so this line here represents line of sight. So as we considered and prepared for this design, we wanted to be able to see and view the waterfall from a lot of areas inside this courtyard. So that's what this line represents here, and it's just signifies and symbolizes how we'll be able to look at it. Now, since I drew this design, this waterfall has changed, and it actually extends across the face of here 35 feet. It will be very dramatic and very large. However, even though the waterfall will butt up against here, up against this sitting area out here, there will be no actual falls on this side, as for the reason that this is a place out here for gathering and conversation. And while this waterfall is large, it creates a lot of sound. And while we do want to enjoy the sound, we don't want it drowning out and making it hard to talk out here and having to yell above each other. So anyway, it'll have some rock base and rock face coming up it, and a lot of plantings in it, which will look really cool. But the majority of the falls will be on the face of it here as well. This sitting area out here is the sitting area and the walkways are all pavers, a plaza style paver. And this sitting area is 12 feet across, and it's 18 inches above the ground. It's one of the ways we utilize this elevation back here in the back part of the property. This is a gradual slope up 18 inches above the lawn area here. There's a bed area that goes along the side of it, and it's also the same level as the sitting area, which of course there's a retaining wall that travels up here and graduates up. Back here on the back, there's another retaining wall planting bed for just some more atmosphere. As I stated about my walkways, the reason the walkways are the way they are, for one, is to create travel and to create more distance through the garden, an ability to actually stroll through the garden and enjoy it. Instead of creating just a direct walkway across this to the pond and the sitting area, well, we created this walkway to actually travel through the garden, so visitors and the owners themselves can enjoy the garden. Curves like this do create a sense of makes things seem larger, create an illusion of actually more space, as there is more travel in the curves. These border areas that we created here are actually an addition requested by the client, that he wanted to actually be able to walk through the garden, as how I had designed it originally. With all this area in here was all lawn, and so he wanted to walk through the garden, which I think is a great addition, and really gave this yard some really cool character just by adding them in there. So if you can see how that would be now, when we have this all planted in, it'd just be absolutely gorgeous, and just adds to the whole atmosphere of the stroll through the garden. The planting selections themselves in all these beds are majority covered with ground cover. Several different textures and shades of green, which, don't forget, green is a color, and you can design with it, and it's amazing what you can do with green itself, because there are so many different textures and shades that you can create absolutely gorgeous landscapes just with green alone. But we use that predominantly as our ground cover. and a lot of Italian plants will be planted in here. Lavenders and tall ornamental grasses and Italian cypress are going to be used on the back side of this waterfall and sitting area, and also as a screening over here. Now back to these border areas, they'll be bordered and created with 6-inch wide, 4-inch high stained concrete for some permanence, and they'll also be 8 inches into the ground. And the reason they'll be 8 inches into the ground is to, of course, create a better border and a better separation between the beds and the lawn area. Now this lawn area itself is going to be fescue lawn, which isn't an aggressive grass. So we really probably don't need 8 inches into the ground, but it's just an added precaution. Now if you're going to use something like an aggressive grass like Bermuda, then of course well, even this 8 inches into the ground wouldn't stop the Bermuda from eventually migrating into your bed. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to have a lot of beds in your yard, definitely consider the type of grass and lawn that you're going to put in there if you are going to use lawn. This area, once we created these, instead of just ending them here, I decided to go ahead and continue this on around towards the side of the house. And in planning ahead also for this design, these two small ornamental trees that are going to grow up, there are windows directly across from here, and so we planted these in here so in time